Mr. Groudie was very surprised when his son John announced that he wanted to get married. He used to believe that John was shallow and fickle. Being the son of a rich dad, John grew up a very spoiled child. "Son, I'm a bit confused here. Yesterday, I told you that I had found a good match for you, but you didn't even want to hear a word. And today you agree? Fine. So this evening, we will go to meet Selena and her parents." "No, Dad, we won't. Tonight I'm seeing my beloved girlfriend, Helga." "It's only her I'm going to marry," John replied firmly. "Now, adios, John," Mr. Groudie called out, but the young man had already run down the steps, got into the car, and drove away. Mr. Groudie called his assistant and asked him to follow John. The next day, he was watching his son from the car. The young man was standing in the yard of an apartment complex, talking with a 30-year-old woman. She was holding a heavy bag in one hand and a little boy in another. John took the groceries, and they entered the building together. 5 minutes later, John left the house, got into the car, and drove away. Mr. Groudie went to see this woman. He was terribly outraged. Not only was she older than him, but she also had a child. Mr. Groudie came to two elderly ladies who were sitting on a bench not far from the building and asked on which floor this woman and her child lived. The talkative ladies even told him the number of her apartment. Mr. Groudie thanked them and went up to the necessary floor. The same stranger who had just been together with his son opened the door. Mr. Groudie wanted to immediately demand that she leave John alone, but as soon as he looked into her face, he froze in surprise. It was Helga. Mr. Groudie had known Helga and her older sister, Haley, since childhood. His brother, Robbie, dated Haley for several years, then married her, and Helga was always hanging around Mr. Groudie. But she was 5 years younger than him, and he wasn't interested in her. And then he met Lena, John's mom, and he married her. Helga came to see him before the wedding. She cried and said she loved him, but Mr. Groudie thought it was just her first love and didn't take it seriously. John's mother died when he was 4 years old, and since then, Mr. Groudie had been alone, and he never thought about Helga. He didn't talk to his brother as well, and it was his fault. One day, Mr. Groudie found out that he and Robbie had one mother but different fathers. Maybe that's why his mom loved her elder son more. Having realized this, Mr. Groudie became jealous and mad from anger. He had become successful just to prove to his elder brother that he was better and more capable than him. One day, Robbie even came to his younger brother and asked for money to pay for the treatment of his newborn son. Robbie worked as a locksmith and lived very modestly. Mr. Groudie didn't understand the severity of his situation and refused to give him anything. Only a month later, he found out what was wrong with his nephew and ran to his brother with money, but it was too late to save the baby. When Haley opened the door, she was wearing a black armband, and Mr. Groudie heard Robbie sobbing. Mr. Groudie didn't dare enter the house and hadn't seen Robbie and his wife ever since that day. Soon enough, he himself became a widower and was left alone with a young son. And now, all ghosts of the past were standing in front of him. "Helga!" Mr. Groudie exclaimed, "But how did you find me? Why? What do you need?" "Helga, it's you. I didn't know it was you. What about John?" "John, my son, you've just met him. Are you John's father?" "Congratulations. He's a very good man. But what does it have to do with me?" Mr. Groudie tried to tell something, got completely confused, felt that he looked very stupid, and left without saying goodbye to Helga. And she watched him walking away for a long time. For several days, Mr. Groudie was a little confused. Apparently, his son is dating an older woman, who, as Mr. Groudie suddenly realized, he likes as well. Those minutes that he spent at her doorstep seemed to bring him back to the past, and he no longer understood how he could have not seen her beauty then. And he also wanted to ask her about Robbie. She is Haley's sister, and surely knows everything about him. Mr. Groudie wanted to beg his brother for forgiveness so badly, but he was worried that Robbie wouldn't even want to hear from him. All these disturbing thoughts made Mr. Groudie make a big decision. He completely forgot about his meeting with investors. It was a particularly difficult meeting, and Mr. Groudie had to hire an interpreter since the investors were Japanese. A car pulled up in front of his office. The guests arrived, but Mr. Groudie was still rushing around his office with a phone. Then he gave up his search and stepped outside to meet the guests. They greeted each other, and then there was an awkward pause. As a responsible party, Mr. Groudie had to somehow deal with this unpleasant situation, but he didn't know what to do at all. He apologized and said that the interpreter was late, but no one understood him. It was a complete failure. The Japanese investors were talking about something with displeasure. Apparently, they were about to leave. Suddenly, a young girl in a cleaning uniform approached them, introduced herself as Helga, and repeated Mr. Groudie's phrase in perfect Japanese. Then she turned to him and offered her help. Mr. Groudie decided that this girl was heaven sent. The meeting went great, the guests were satisfied, and the contract was concluded. After seeing the Japanese out, Mr. Groudie invited his savior to his office. "And now tell me, who are you and how did you get here? I've been cleaning your office for this whole month, but why didn't you mention that you knew Japanese? I also speak English, French, and German. I've had language aptitude since I was a child. It's just nobody asked me about it, so I didn't say anything. Dear Helga, from now on, you're my interpreter. Please get ready to always be next to me, not only here, but also on my foreign trips." At that moment, John entered the office. He looked at Helga in surprise and then said, "Have you two already met, Dad? I hope you haven't said anything stupid to her yet." "What do you mean?" Mr. Groudie stared at his son and the girl in turns. "Dad, this is my fiancée, Helga. I've told you about her, and it's only her I will marry, even if you're against it. John, you have no idea how much I favor this union. Your Helga is a great and smart girl. But tell me, who is that another Helga, the woman with a child? I'm totally lost. That might be my fiancée's neighbor. I've just helped her carry the bags," John's fiancée chimed in. "Do you know Helga Kinnerman?" "She is my next-door neighbor," added John. Now it all became clear to Mr. Groudie. He had knocked on the wrong door, but it's so strange that it was there that he met a woman from his past. "Helga," he said to the girl, "what do you know about your neighbor? There was some tragedy in her family. Her sister and brother-in-law died in a car accident, but their little son survived. So, Helga is raising him now." John and his fiancée watched Mr. Groudie run out of the office, and he was rushing to the place where he could get more details. "Is that true? Was he late again?" John asked. "He was just as late as the first time," his fiancée replied. And here he was again, standing in front of the one who once loved him and feeling guilty. "Helga, are Robbie and Haley dead?" "Is it true?" he asked. "Yes," she nodded. "How? How did it happen? Tell me." "Well, what is there to tell? They were driving home from work. It was raining, and visibility was poor. The collision with the truck was very serious. The doctor said they had no chance to survive. Michael stayed with me. So here we are. If you only knew how sorry I am. It's not your fault. Now go. You have your own life, and we have ours. I didn't think we'd ever meet again, otherwise, I wouldn't have moved here," Helga said firmly and shut the door in front of him. A few days passed. Mr. Groudie was happy for his son, who was preparing for the wedding, but the throbbing pain in his soul didn't stop. He visited Helga several times more, but she didn't even open the door. He called, she didn't pick up the phone. But he still didn't give up his attempts to meet her. One day, he came to her again and saw that the door to her apartment was open. There were doctors inside. She was taken to the hospital with a severe heart attack. No one knew what to do with a little boy who was looking at this incident with his eyes wide open. So, Helga was taken to the hospital, and Mr. Groudie came up to the child. "Is your name Michael?" Yes, and I'm Mr. Groudie. You know what, pal? Come with me. The boy stayed with Mr. Groudie for 2 months. Helga spent all this time in the hospital. Her surgery went well, and now she was recovering under the doctor's supervision. Mr. Groudie paid for everything: a good hospital room, medicines, doctors, and nurses. Now he knew that Helga had moved to the town for her medical examination and had accidentally rented an apartment next to his son's fiancée. During Helga's recovery, Mr. Groudie became very attached to Michael, and the boy also fell in love with his kind and caring uncle. On the day of Helga's discharge, they arrived at the hospital together. She came out and smiled at them warmly and friendly. Mr. Groudie realized that she could forgive him, and he knew that he would do everything to earn his forgiveness. Time passed. Helga and Mr. Groudie got married. Now they had a large family. Mrs. Groudie had recently given birth to twins, and Michael enjoyed playing with his brother and sister. Mr. Groudie believed that the happiness that once had entered their home would never leave him. Thank you for joining us today on Deep Stories. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video.